Hello, and welcome back. As all this video is going to be, I'm going to try to make it relatively short, is going over what these books. There's a stack of books here that takes up the entire height. And the books I just pulled, if I added it to the pile, would make a second stack. So from some of the other videos, you saw that I had listed some books, and then they sold, and they didn't have a SKU on them, so I knew where they would be. The same thing goes with the CDs and DVDs that I have. They get stacked on the boxes of where I put my CDs and DVDs at. I just use these priority mail boxes and I just number them. And I don't have to have like book box 7 because I know that this is where the books are. So they get labeled. They do have B7 or CDs are C8 or 23 and DVDs are D18 or 29 or whatever. They do have that first letter in them. That's how I did it a while ago when I just had about 20 boxes going up the stairs. Now I have this shelving unit. 1, 2, 3 of these shelving units right here. And another type of shelving unit, which is a little skinnier, not as deep, a little skinnier. 1, 2 being used. Another one with 3 shelves being used. Not all the shelves are completely used yet, almost about 80%. And I have 2 more 5-stack racks of the shelves that I was just talking about out in the carport. Another black rack like this out in the carport. A white, or not a white rack, a short black rack like this out in the carport, and a black rack right behind me. So these ones here, I got the 3 of these at Savers. They're like $12 or whatever they were. And I got the 5.5 of the beige skinnier ones for like $8 each at Savers. And this bookshelf here, I picked up from someone my mom knows. So it's what I'm going to do for books wise. Kind of explain. So this is charging. So I have my tablet and I open up you probably won't be able to see all that, but I open up the actual eBay website, not the app on here. And since they changed this up a little, this isn't difficult to figure out. So I'll click on the eBay categories. I'll go books, click all of them, results. This column right here shows when I listed them. So I know that those books are right here. Yeah, they're all right here. For the most part, stacked from how I listed them. Because when I list, I will have a row facing me, and I'll pluck from the first one in front of me, which is going to represent the first pictures I took. Then when I list it, I set it down on a table right beside me. And then I'll list the next one, and next one, and next one, and next one. So when I go to do this, the last one listed will be on top, as of right here as well. So if I go here, second print, so this one's going to be off by a tab because I did move these around. So we have the second print, rooms, right here. The Bible, so religious stuff and Bible go up in a cedar carryout cabinet up in the hallway. And if they did have any smell, cedar helps to remove, Spanish cedar specifically helps to remove, that cabinet is not Spanish cedar, but Spanish cedar of all the woods helps to remove strong smells. So when it comes down to books of what I've read, and I believe it works. So what I'll do for this one here, it's not a heavy book. It's real thin, and we can see it's smaller than the tablet. So what I'll do, come up, and I'll grab box 1, and I'll look inside box 1, and I have enough room right here to put runes. And that's about all I have room in that box for. So I'll go to runes, and I will click on where the SKU would be. You have to specialize or customize that table to have those columns how you want them. And I will type in B1. So now I know that runes is in B1. And I take this and I put that up there. And see here, now if you can see there's a gap in here. So which ones can I put in there that are ones that I just listed that are still going to be roughly, the top shelf, I don't mind putting heavier hardcover books on. These little shelves, which are only held on by these little tabs about that big, I don't want to stack these with, the more I can control the weight of books that go on the higher shelves, the better. Because I don't want one to come down and push on another, the cascading, collapsing effect. As for the more recent books that I have that are next, directly below that, oh, because I set them all up. So this is the Elvis book now. I thought it was signed. It's not. It was just the mass-produced page for that specifically. That, by rearranging, does fit on that side. So Elvis goes into B2. I go in here, just type in B2. And we have that number 5 Hackberry. So it is a $50 book. So I want to kind of put that between other books, so it doesn't get, loose and bopped around and dust cover pulled just like I just did. Either way, it's still mint. Blame it on shipping. So we'll go B2 on this one. And I'm not going to make a video showing putting all these books away, but that's just kind of a cursory of what it is, and I will. So there's room in this box. Room in this box to put some more. You're going to be room in each other. I'll just make sure I put my hand in there, make sure there is a little bit of room before I start anchoring them down. And that's basically how I store my books. And room that one. And so, like I said before, is what I'll do usually every couple months, depending on how many media items I have that are ending, that are 6 months old. 6 months old that are still listed at the 6-month-old range. I go by listed oldest, if you will, or longest on site. That would mean that they never got 3 views at 3 months for me to click on to see if it had more than, if it has 4 or 5 views, if I could see 3 in the column, I click on it. If it's at least 3 months, if it's like 4 or 5 months or 4 or 5 views in 2 months, I'll take that one down. I'll reprice it by just a little. So if it has 3 views, I'll look at it. If it only has 0 or 1, throughout it could be 5 months, 6, 8, 10. If it only has 1, I'm never going to click on it. So what I'll do, I'll take down, let's just say 100. I already preemptively looked, and it looks like I'm going to be taking down about 200. So, and that's all media. That's all the media not all the media I have. That's what's going to be coming down. But I will click on each of those, and I will take down, and I will checkbox, and I'll take down every single one that has like 4 or 5 views over however long it's been, 5 months plus. And I'll take all those ones down that have 4 or 5 views, and I will look at Terapeak, and I'll see what they have sold for, kind of put a gauge on what it is, see if any have sold of recent within 3 months, to see if I can price it a little better to what competitively they're priced at, and even look at the solds to see what they have sold for of recent, just so I can try to get that extra one, because it's already 6 months or 8 months or a year old if nobody was jumping on it. And that's part of a problem on, I want to call it a problem. It's a good problem to have, that if you have stuff that you know has a decent quality to it, that you know that you can command a little better price, you could keep things at that higher price. However, you end up with a lot of stuff that's higher priced than a lot of stuff that's priced lower that is selling. And the quality that you have isn't catching wind to the people who want to buy. Now, there are more collector books that are out there. For example, that Never-Ending Story book here, it is a collector book. It is a genuine first edition, American edition. And if you watched my previous videos, I did manage to get these to come down a little. That's why it's down on the bottom of the stack to press that down. Well, it's not on the bottom now. But that's a collector book. People are going to look at that quality. And if you look at how many there are of this, maybe 10 of this very exact one with the dust jacket, and people who are going to spend that 200 bucks will look and be like, oh, there's one that's 180 that the dust jacket is worn quite a bit. The edging right here, all the edging is worn down or discolored or has fingerprints all over, smudges. This one is very clean, so somebody would likely spend that extra 20 bucks for something like this to try to command something, a higher price on something that's, if you're trying to ask 20 grand for a rusted Pinto, you're not going to get it. If you're trying to ask 20 grand for a very clean Pinto and you put extra words in there like, hey, it's great restoration, it has very hard to find parts. I'm just using this for an example. I don't sell cars. But if you have that kind of stuff in there, you have 6 to 10 photos, primarily on the points of what collectors will look for. They'll look at the edges. They'll look at primarily the condition of, they'll look at the condition of the dust cover, dust jacket. They'll look at the condition of the inside. They want to know what the copyright page is. So you can command a lot of that when it comes down to books and things that you're selling, especially CDs and DVDs. And media of what I picked up, what I've learned. So again, all these books here, I'm not going to bore you guys with the video of me doing all that. To do this stack and this stack would probably take half an hour, maybe 40 minutes to put away 30, 40 book listings in these boxes. And what I'm trying to do is consolidate it to where I only use the bookshelf for books. So I'm flushing out some of those cheaper ones that are still listed, garner a little bit of interest. But back to the calling. So the calling and taking down the 20 or the 200. So I'll still kind of look and see, because I just don't want to take something just like, well, it's had barely any interest. It's had 3 views, visible views, over 8 months. I click on it. It has 9 views. It has some interest. Let me see the competing prices, competing recent solds. For collector's pieces, those are things that I rarely budge on. I do have best offer. I do negotiate with people if they want to message me in regards to prices of stuff. But I'm commanding 200 for this book, just shy, 195. There was a couple that have sold for $400 that were signed or whatever scenario. I look up so many, I don't remember what the scenario was, why there were more. But they're in excellent condition. Further, if you are into the Never-Ending Story, there is a real big Never-Ending Story, big box set. I don't know. There's some videos on YouTube about this huge box set with the 4K Blu-ray and all this stuff. So I have been very subtly plugging in some of those comments. Hey, I have a first edition Never-Ending Story for sale. I don't drop any links. Or I put the little carrot arrows, be like, hey, you can go over to my channel and you can link your way through it. But anyhow, so here's a generic video just basically on how I put my books away, what I do, where they're at. And then I'll do another one with the CDs and DVDs some other day. And so this is kind of a gauge that you can see on how I do it, how I keep it organized. And you just have to, as stuff comes in. Books, no, because I do get them. I don't list them as much as CDs and DVDs. So they can wait in the stack. And again, if they don't have a SKU, I know they're in the stack. Anyhow, if you like what you heard, like what you saw, feel free to comment. Comment, like you can do it. Feel free to comment, like, subscribe, share. It helps me, it helps you, helps everyone. Appreciate it. Thanks.